When I was younger, some horrible things happened to me. I was sexually abused. I thought it was all in the past, but lately it started really affecting me again. I've started going out with this boy at college, you see. Being close to him has made all sorts of things come back to me. I'd like to tell you about it so you'll understand what it can be like, and if it's happened to you, so you know that you're not the only one. When I was 7, my mum and dad split up. I'm still not totally sure, but I think Dad met someone else. I remember my mum being devastated. She'd cry a lot. I remember being quite frightened to see her so sad and not knowing how to make her feel better. After a while though, she was okay. Things got back to normal. Then one day she brought Sean home. She didn't say so, but me and my sister knew he was her boyfriend. Well anyway, Sean moved in with us after a while. He didn't have his own kids, but he really liked spending time with us and would really make an effort to be part of the family. After a while it felt like he'd always been there. We did see our dad sometimes, but it wasn't the same as it used to be. It was always a bit awkward. I suppose that happens sometimes. So yeah, Sean moved in and was part of the family with Mum and my older sister Ella and Sophie. It was a lot of fun. When I was 8, Mum and Sean took us on holiday to Spain. It was fantastic. I'd never been abroad before and I loved it. We ate out every night, went on a boat trip, and Sean even taught me how to swim. It was great. That's the last time I remember being totally happy. It was just after that holiday that, without anyone seeming to notice, my whole world changed. After our holiday we'd all go swimming after school, or on a Saturday morning. I got an ear infection one week so I couldn't go. I stayed home with Sean and we had a great time. I remember being allowed to eat loads of sweets and drink Coke. My ear infection stayed for a while, so Sean always stayed at home with me. It probably sounds a bit mad, but I'd really feel special when it was just me and him spending time together. Sometimes though he'd make me feel a bit uncomfortable and scared. That's how it started, I suppose. He'd ask me to sit on his lap and hold me funny. And when he'd tickle me, it would just seem a bit weird. I'd tell myself it was okay. Mum would hug him and stuff, and if she really liked him, he must be okay. I'd try and ignore the feeling that something wasn't quite right. He started making me change into my swimming suit when others were out. He'd help me put it on and take it off, even though I was way old enough to do it myself. I'd feel really self-conscious and try to cover myself up with my hands, but he'd always move them away. He'd rub suntan cream on me, even though it was in the house. It makes sense now, but at the time I just couldn't understand. Each time it happened, I'd be so relieved my mum and sisters came back. I'd want to tell her, but I couldn't. I didn't know what to say. And what if she told me I was just being stupid and making a fuss about nothing? When I was 10, we moved into a bigger house. It was lovely. It had a garden, and I didn't have to share a room with my sister Kate anymore. I was so pleased with my room. My mum and Sean painted it lilac for me and bought me a desk. I soon started to hate it though and wish I could go back to sharing with my sisters. See, now that I was in a room on my own, Sean would just come in sometimes when I was in bed. He'd wake me up and start touching me and stuff. I'd pray for Mum to come in and put the light on and see what he was doing and tell him to leave. As things got worse, I managed to get the nerve to tell Sean that I was going to tell my mum. I thought it would stop him, but he just shrugged and said that my mum would be disgusted with me and wouldn't want me around, that she loved him and wouldn't let me ruin it for her. It made sense. I felt disgusted with myself. I could easily believe my mum would feel the same way about me. And it had been going on for ages by then, so I would worry that people would think I wanted it to happen, but I just wanted it to stop. I'd seen an advert for children at school, and it was such a relief. I tried to phone them, but each time the person said hello, I had to put the phone down. I was scared about what they would think of me and what would happen to Sean, so it stayed a secret, a horrible and frightening secret. By the time I was 13 it was still happening. It was always at the back of my mind. I managed to go out a lot of the weekends by then and started to feel so angry with him. I would imagine myself hitting him and shouting at him and pushing him away, and when it happened I would just kind of freeze. I was worried that it was happening to my sisters. I'd watch Sean with them and try to make sure that he didn't get left in the house on his own with them. I started to wish I'd really told someone. It felt like it was too late to tell anyone by then though. On the surface though, everything seemed normal. My life seemed normal and average. I was doing okay at school, I had friends, I went out, but under the surface everything felt totally out of control. It was around that age that I started to scratch the top of my legs until they'd bleed. I don't really know how it started, but it kind of became a regular thing. I'd cut them with a bit of glass. I felt like a freak. I felt like I couldn't stop it. I couldn't go swimming or wear shorts in case some people saw the marks. It all came out when I was staying at my friend's house one night. Part of me wanted her to see the marks on my legs. I just wanted someone to know what was happening, to see how I was feeling. She noticed the marks and asked me what they were. I said that I'd done it to myself. It was really hard to say, but I kind of felt like I had to tell her, or I'd go mad. She was really great. She listened to me and we both cried a bit. I told her what Sean was like and what he'd made me do. Although we were really good friends, I was still a bit worried that she'd be disgusted with me, or she wouldn't believe me. But she did believe me and she wanted to help. She said that she was really worried about me. We went and got her mum in the end. Her mum looked really shocked, like she didn't know what to do, and then she hugged me. It was such a relief that an adult knew and that they believed me. I remember just crying and crying about feeling really safe. I get a bit tearful when I remember it still now. So she phoned my mum and she came round. I remember she was crying and she held me really tight and promised not to let it happen again. And she kept her promise. The police came round to our house and Sean had to leave. It was over. It is over. But lately I keep having these flashbacks where it's like I remember the abuse happening, but it feels so real. It feels like it's happening again. It really frightens me and I still cut myself sometimes. It's more than often though lately. I told my doctor about it and he referred me to Parks. They do counselling for young people who've been through sexual abuse. My first appointment is tomorrow. Anyway, thanks for listening to my story. Often people don't talk about stuff like this. Maybe if we did, it would be easier for those it happens to tell somebody, so they can get it to stop. Bye.